Right now, life has completely unraveled for Emmerdale's Moira Dingle, who is accused of murder, and yet more unwelcome developments are only adding to her misery. She remains behind bars, charged with 2 killings, Anya Berisha and Celia Daniels, after false evidence was planted to frame her. Detective Constable Walsh is convinced of her guilt and is ready to pursue the harshest possible punishment. Moira is also struggling inside prison, having already suffered a black eye and made an enemy almost as soon as she arrived. Every time Cain visits, there's another bruise on me, but she just brushes it off and says it's nothing to worry about. That's just how things work in here, Natalie J Robb explained, suggesting Moira faces a brutal experience. Meanwhile, outside the prison walls, her husband, Cain Dingle, is confronting his own mortality without her knowledge after being diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. Yet the stream of bad news refuses to stop. Moira is then confronted with an unexpected visit when Victoria Sugden arrives carrying documents that require her signature. She is far from pleased to discover that Victoria and Robert plan to sell the farm and need her approval to finalize the deal. Completely stunned, Moira listens as Victoria claims the land has become impossible to run, and she starts to relent, mistaking the look on Victoria's face for weary acceptance. In reality, that expression is driven by guilt. Just before she signs, however, Moira is told the vital detail that the Tate family intend to buy the farm, a revelation that could change everything. What remains hidden from Moira is that Victoria is acting under intense pressure. Tate possesses footage of Victoria killing her brother, John Sugden, and has threatened to hand it to the police unless the siblings agree to sell him the property. He also plays a major role in Moira's imprisonment, having coerced Robert into planting evidence on her land, which ultimately led to her arrest. So while Moira sits powerless in jail for a crime she never committed, Jo is systematically stripping away everything else she holds dear. The question now is how Moira will react once she finally uncovers the truth. Natalie J Robb has already confirmed she has signed a new contract, indicating Moira's story is far from over and hinting that her courtroom showdown may finally bring Tate's downfall. Emmerdale viewers were left emotionally drained after a moving moment between Cain Dingle and Sarah Sugden. Fans praised the ITV soap's latest installment, describing it as a powerful episode following Cain's emotional confession to Sarah. In the episode, Jeff Hordley's Cain was shown struggling to process his cancer diagnosis. During an intense scene, he finally opened up to Sarah about his illness. The pair shared a heartfelt embrace as Cain broke down while speaking about his health, prompting an emotional response from viewers online. One fan wrote that the episode completely overwhelmed them, especially as it coincided with the anniversary of losing their father, admitting they held it together until Cain said he missed his dad. Another viewer praised the episode for focusing on Cain's internal perspective, calling it a difficult but vital watch that highlighted the importance of men speaking openly about both physical and mental health, and said the moment Cain confided in Sarah was truly special. A further comment applauded the show for portraying the loneliness that often follows a cancer diagnosis, saying it reminded them of their own father bravely attending appointments alone, and expressed full support for Cain. One fan described the episode as outstanding, saying it was deeply upsetting yet grounded in realism, particularly true to Cain's character. Another viewer said their heart broke for Cain, but praised Jeff Hordley for his performance, and welcomed the fact Cain finally confided in Sarah. A final comment commended Hordley's powerful acting, calling the episode excellent and noting the storyline's importance in helping others feel less alone. Emmerdale actor Dominic Brunt has spoken about what lies ahead for Paddy Kirk and Dylan Penders, reassuring viewers that the turmoil surrounding them will eventually ease. The star, who plays Paddy, has hinted that the dramatic Ray Walters storyline is far from over. Dominic shared insights into Paddy and Dylan's future on the ITV soap, as the pair continue to hide a major secret from the rest of the village. Dylan Penders was introduced to viewers last year, portrayed by Fred Kettle, during a special episode centered on April Windsor's disappearance after discovering she was pregnant. Dylan first appeared when he stepped in to protect April after an older man began bothering her while she was living rough. He later brought her to an abandoned building where she met his friend Becca, who tried to guide and support April. Tragically, Becca was later stabbed to death while chasing someone who had stolen the small amount of money they had begged for. When April eventually returned home, Dylan followed her back to the village, but his arrival was met with hostility, as Moira Dingle was determined to keep him away from his daughter. Despite this, viewers later saw Dylan welcomed into the home of Mandy and Paddy, who offered him stability and a chance at a safer life away from the streets. Paddy helped Dylan learn to drive and secure work at the depot, gradually becoming a strong parental presence in his life. He was left heartbroken when he discovered that Ray Walters had groomed Dylan into dealing drugs. It later emerged that Ray Walters and his mother, Celia Daniels, were involved in far more than just drug dealing, as they were also exploiting vulnerable people by forcing them to work on their land. Among those caught up in the disturbing operation was Paddy Kirk's father, Bear Wolf, leaving Paddy terrified that he might never see him again. The situation took a dramatic turn when Bear returned and bravely intervened to protect Dylan after Ray began threatening him. In a shocking revelation, it was confirmed that Bear was responsible for Ray's death, an act driven by desperation and a need to keep Dylan safe. Opening up to the Manchester Evening News and other press, Dominic Brunt spoke about the emotional weight of the storyline and Paddy's role within it. He explained that throughout this turbulent time, Paddy becomes a vital source of comfort and stability for Dylan, offering reassurance when everything else feels overwhelming. According to Dominic, there are several deeply emotional moments where Dylan admits that he can no longer cope with the pressure of what has happened. In response, Paddy steps in to remind him that no matter how dark things seem, the situation will eventually pass, and that his life is already in a better place than it once was. Dominic also explored why Paddy feels such a strong sense of responsibility towards Dylan. He revealed that Paddy waited many years to become a father himself, which has shaped the way he connects with young people who need guidance and support. Paddy recognizes that characters like Dylan and Aaron never had the same chances or stable upbringing that he did, and that understanding fuels his desire to help them. Having grown up in a secure middle-class household and trained as a vet, Paddy is fully aware of how fortunate he has been in life. Rather than acting out of obligation or hidden motives, Paddy simply wants to offer kindness where he can. With a spare room available and a steady income, he sees no reason to turn away someone who has already endured so much trauma. For Paddy, allowing Dylan to return to the streets is unthinkable, especially after everything the teenager has survived. Instead, he is determined to provide him with safety, stability, and a sense of belonging, proving once again that compassion sits at the very heart of his character. Emmerdale airs on ITV1 weeknights at 8 p.m, and is also available to stream on ITVX.